Hello, Mayday here. Welcome back. Got a couple of stories here why the government is banning Chinese robots. We got another one about El Said proclaimed obligation to follow that law till the day he dies. This is a pretty big story. And we're going to watch a few videos of some wild stuff that you need to probably see. First, let's start here. The Federal Commission's Commission on 28th of July announced a ban on humanoid robots from China, including the popular Unitree G1 model. The Guardian's technology journalist Nick Robbins early explains the recent popularity of these trending robots and why the U.S. government says they are at risk to the country's national security. Well, I can tell you why they're at risk, because they're wanting to sell robots to us that are made by certain people here in the States, and they're not going to cost $5,000, and they'll probably do us about as much as one of these that costs $5,000. And I think that has a lot to do with it, but we'll watch this little explainer.
You've probably seen this robot. It's popped up outside World Cup games and the NBA Finals. It's danced on TV for hundreds of millions of viewers. It even roundhouse kicked a child. But where did it come from? And why does the American government want to ban it? It's called the Unitree G1, and it's part of a booming industry of humanoid robots that are meant to move and act like human beings. They're made by a Chinese company called Unitree, which is right now one of the biggest names in robotics. Over the past few years, Unitree and a few other Chinese firms have made these types of humanoids and four-legged robots better, cheaper, and more widely available. Until recently, you couldn't really just buy a robot. It was something that you'd really only see from labs like Boston Dynamics. But then, anyone with around 14 grand could just order a robot and program it to do any movement that they wanted, from cracking a walnut to doing martial arts. Unitree shipped around 5,500 of them last year alone. So who's buying? Well, that's part of why you're seeing them right now. It turns out that aside from universities and researchers, influencers and marketers also love robots. The Knicks robot that was partying outside of Madison Square Garden, that was owned by a sports betting company and sponsored by Kalshi. The other robot that was dancing outside of World Cup games, that was actually linked to a consulting company that does robot rentals for events.
Yeah, that would be smart to get into, is robot
has
rentals.
about 2 million TikTok followers, and he even made it onto The Tonight Show.
What up, Jimmy? Rizba is in the house. Give it up for me.
Then Unitree does a lot of marketing of its own, and recently got a bunch of G1s onto America's Got Talent. And this is where things start to get tricky for the robots, because all this popularity started to get the attention of the US government. Lawmakers allege that these Chinese robots are a national security threat and could be used to surveil Americans or to steal data. In July, the Trump administration announced that they were banning imports of advanced Chinese robots like the G1. Some experts say that part of the reason for this ban is just because US companies like Tesla are falling behind in the global race to build these kinds of robots. But there might also be real risks. In 2025, security researchers found an exploit in the G1 that could have allowed an attacker to hack in, infect other models, and create a robot army. They found that a vulnerability in the G1's Bluetooth technology meant that, quote, an infected robot can simply scan for other Unitree robots in the BLE range and automatically compromise them, creating a robot botnet that spreads without user intervention. And so, should we be worried that this is the start of a sci-fi future with robots everywhere running amok? Not exactly, or at least not for a long time. The tech industry wants you to believe that these kinds of robots will eventually be your nanny, chef, doctor, mechanic, all rolled up into one. In order for that to happen, you need these things to work 99.99% of the time. You just can't have the risk that a robot is going to burn your food, bust your car, and kick your kid. Right now, they're nowhere near that reliable, smart, or safe. But they can dance. Kind of.
Yeah, right now, they're basically like people with money who like to tinker and play and like 3D printing, building computers. That's what they need. Looks like that was what China was trying to do, but the government wants that money instead, so they're going to ban them, and they're banning them now. When these things first came out, the Zooms and all that, Zumba, these robot things, they got busted for mapping your homes, mapping all floors, and I don't know if you remember that or not. And that was the American companies, so it's not like they're going to be any better with you. Now we got El Said proclaimed obligation. Follow that until the day he dies. When I die and I stand before God, I don't want to say I did it the easy way instead of the compliant way, El Said told the New York Times in 2009. Now we know that once you're in that, it's basically you ain't coming out. There's even influencers and people on YouTube that I actually watch. I ain't gonna say their names, but they're a plant. They're not really. They're a Muslim, and I mean he even skipped over the part he was reading some stuff about what Muslims do. The part where it's pretend to be in the media like you're with the people, and he kind of skipped over that. I kind of figured he was that anyway. Then there's a lot of them popping up too, and they're all supported and paid for by your tax money. Be careful. Be careful who you're watching. I'll put it to you that way. They'll eventually turn you into being on their side. Ultimately, the question is, when I die and I stand before and go through everything I did in my life, I don't want to say I did it the easy way instead of that way. Now, to say that, and again, and people say, oh, well, that was 20 years ago. Yeah, 20 years ago. Yeah, impressioned. He's there. I mean, he's not going to. He won't denounce it ever. Like I said, he'll be doing a rug prayer in Senate if he's elected. Make no mistake, he'll bring others in there, and he'll do it just to pee on you, to laugh at you, to hate on you. All right, let's watch these videos. This is rough, but
Quan Shafar Hunt attacks a white woman randomly and then posts it multiple times on Instagram. He has these other rambling videos ranting about Trump.
Now, what I told you, fuck you, Trump, just Dale Earnhardt, all that shit, nigga.
There is a black on white homicide in the United States every
He's
single
retarded.
day. Now, last year, in just half of August, 2 weeks, black killers killed 18 white people. Since December 1st, 2023, black people have killed 1,259 white people in this country, for which we have the race of the perpetrator. Again, there are some issues recording the race of the perpetrator, and U.S. clearance rates for homicide are not great. Likewise, there have been 406 Latino on white murders since December 1st, 2023. There were only 247 white on black homicides since December 1st, 2023. Based on this data alone, black people are 5 times more likely to kill a white person than vice versa. That is just the raw numbers. When you account for population size, a black person is 25 times more likely to kill a white person than vice versa. The FBI's new Crime Data Explorer, or the National Crime Victimization Survey, don't really put it into picture. One famous person asked me why I was celebrating when Carmelo Anthony was found guilty. And that's because I've covered more than 200 cases at this point of black offenders, repeat offenders who have been arrested 12 times, 80 times, who fuck up our data because they keep reoffending, and who are a serious threat to the public. These black offenders keep getting let off. They keep getting light sentences or community corrections opportunities, even though they've committed violent crimes. But let's look at the rates at which these crimes are being committed and how severe these crimes are, and then look at how the courts treat them.
yeah, it's terrible. I mean, look at that poor woman. Look at that poor woman. It's terrible the way this is. She was taking some flowers or a balloon to somebody who was sick, and this, I think she's got brain damage. I don't think she's doing very well. I mean, I've said it before. I would sue the city police. I would sue the city mayor's office, and I would sue the courts, and I'd sue for the budget. And then that way, hey, I mean, they're not doing anything anyway. I mean, just get your money back and buy a Doberman. That's about all you can do. Here's this guy. We know who this is. He's the dog shocker. I seen that video. I couldn't believe it.
At what point does your very expensive home stop being a basic human necessity and something that essentially reinforces the very system that you're critiquing?
I don't think the purchases that you make necessarily, I mean, if you're buying a private jet, it's a little different, but I don't think the purchases that you make, as long as you're not using it to engage in capital accumulation, imply, something less ethical than whatever purchase you're making in general.
What did he just say?
I have a house. The
What did
reason
he
why
just
it's so
say?
expensive is because it's in West Hollywood.
This guy is pushing socialism, but at the same time is buying multi-million-dollar homes, and his exact words are, "It's okay if I do it as long as you don't do capital accumulation." Well, capital accumulation means that you have a very large net worth. Let's just see how much he's worth. If we look at his net worth, we're looking at around an estimate of $20 to $35 million. To me, that seems like you're accumulating a pretty large amount of capital. If we look at his income, he's making $2.8 million in just a couple of years from things like
not bad for a socialist.
How much does he actually make per year? According to sources, it looks like he averages in the $4+ million range in recent years. So that seems to me like he is benefiting pretty well on the capitalist system, yet he's pushing socialism.
Yeah, and don't they all do it? I mean, it's crazy. For me to have like a business and have a nice home and to do all that, yeah, I've worked hard for it, but I'm not going to tell everybody else that you can't do it. I mean, even if you don't have to work as hard, if you've got a little luckier or something, or if you've got to work harder to get it. I mean, I'm not going to say, oh no, only I can do it. And then to say that, everybody else has got to live on peanuts. I mean, like, what kind of person are you? It makes no sense. I can understand saying, well, they didn't get out and self-start, so they get to make this range, and they're doing. That makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, hey, but you're paying them well or whatever. But to just say that nobody else should have that opportunity, that's just terrible. And here we go, another murder. Now let's read on this one. White 56-year-old husband and father Frederick Lytton was working alongside black 23-year-old Devin Rice at a U-Haul facility in West Nashville. You already know how this ends. The two men were reportedly arguing about a soda when Frederick Lytton turned away and walked away from the verbal dispute, returning to his workstation. Moments later, Devin Rice walked up behind him, pulled out a handgun, and emptied into Lytton's back. He dumped the magazine into this guy over a soda pop. And guarantee you it was this guy's soda pop. This dude probably came over doing whatever he's doing, accusing him of something. Oh boy's like, whatever, man, I'm just going to go away. I'll see you later. It's not worth it. And he's like, oh, I'll show you. Just look at the young Devin's angel's face. Yeah, devil angel, like a devil's what you call him. Who could have possibly predicted that such a sweet boy could have such low impulse control? Isn't that something? And look who gets to suffer because this guy, and he'll be out in 6 months or a year. These judges all need to be locked up and hung, in my opinion. Well, let's see here. You're the money man. What do we got here? He's all anti-capitalist.
You're the money man. Do you want socialism or capitalism in New York?
I'm definitely against capitalism.
And why is capitalism bad, so that people can know about this?
I think the system is already built on the rich getting richer, you know what I mean? The poor staying poor, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You're selling t-shirts right here. Like, how much is this t-shirt?
This one's going for $60.
$60. Okay. The mayor, governor, whatever, could come along and say that this shirt should be $40. Would you sell it for $40 then?
Absolutely not, because I make the market. If I wasn't working for myself, it's different.
I feel like people...
I mean, isn't that something? How can you be that fucking stupid? I mean, the guy said, oh, well, okay, would you sell it for 40? Oh, no, I got to have my money. It's the market, man. I mean, really? I mean, what have these people done? I mean, in school, how do they? I mean, I don't know, man.
Really do need what socialism is actually spelled out to them in something as simple as this. Here's what the guy is doing. He's a street vendor. He does not want the government to set his prices. Well, guess what? That is capitalism, not socialism like he claims to support. In capitalism, he controls his business. In socialism, right here, the government controls distribution and the prices. It really is that simple. But the issue is here we have people that are being brainwashed by the media, brainwashed by liberal influencers and Democrats to like socialism when they have literally no idea what socialism is.
You're the money man.
Let's hear this again.
Socialism or capitalism in New York?
I'm definitely against capitalism.
And why is capitalism bad so that people can know about this?
I think the system is already built on the rich getting richer. You know what I mean? The poor staying poor. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're selling t-shirts right here. Like, how much is this t-shirt?
This one's going for $60.
$60. Okay. You know, the mayor, governor, whatever, could come along and say that this shirt should be $40. Well, would you sell it for $40 then?
Absolutely not, because I make the market. If I wasn't working for myself.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's just like this guy just can't believe, you know, what he just said, and then totally contradicted everything. You know, he can sell for what he wants, but what everybody else has got to be restricted. Does he not understand that, like, that means everybody's restricted? I mean, you know, not just a few people. I mean, these people are stupid. Here's another McDonald's thing.
Well, Star.
Did you see that? That's an actual felony.
That's Jackie Chan. That's Jack Daniels.
Is there nowhere they can go in groups where, like, this stuff doesn't happen? I mean, imagine that. I mean, I don't go to McDonald's. If I ever seen something like that, I'd be taking a rocket ship out of there as fast as I could. But there are people that probably do have to take their kids there or have to eat there and put up with that stuff. No, thank you. You can go back to wherever you came from, McDonald's. Okay, this is actually funny. This is funny. I don't know if it's real. It might be a skit. It could be AI, but this is funny.
Hey, sir. You know why I pulled you over tonight?
Yeah, I got a pretty good idea. Hey, I got a big favor to ask you. You mind if I step out of the car for a minute?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
All right, thanks. Yep. Let's step back here.
Okay.
So you saw the lady in the passenger seat, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's my wife, and the lady in the back seat. Did you see her?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this though: are you married?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. All right. Here you go. So that's the mother-in-law in the back, right? Those two got in a huge fight this morning, and the mother-in-law insisted we take her home right away. So that's what I'm trying to do, get her home. I'm worried they're gonna make up, and then, you know, she's gonna live with us another 6 months, right? So I gotta get her home before those two make up, okay?
All right, so I'm gonna give you a full police escort.
Okay.
I'm gonna turn on the sirens, keep the lights on. By the glory of God, we will get you there. Now get in the car.
He said he's gonna give him a full escort. By the grace of God, we'll get you there and get those two split up. That is funny stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Hey man, like, subscribe, help me out a little bit. Thank you for watching.